I have had the privilege of working with thousands of business owners over the last 35 years. Some of them are just winging it. And what I mean by winging it, they've got an idea, they're making some sales, they're making some money, and everything is hopefully going to be okay. I sometimes describe them like a swan. Everything's all smooth on the surface, everything looks okay, but underneath they're paddling like crazy to keep it all together. Cash flow problems, staffing problems, consistency of sales problems, just the worry, the overwhelm, the chaos of business. And in some cases that can be fun and exciting and exhilarating to be chasing the dream. But in other ways it can be just exhausting. When we help our clients, we try and get them to slow down a little bit and stop and fix the things that are broken. And on my journey with this, I ended up creating this model, this simple model of price, systems and positioning and the elements that all go around of it. It then led to writing this book. And this book is really just a detailed explanation of that. And you can get a copy of this book below. I also did a whole video course a while back with Vicky, and we put the course together and the workbooks as a practical tool for you to go and actually implement a lot of the stuff that we're doing here. It's all 100% free because we decided just to give this stuff away because more and more people need this to be able to get rid of that chaos, that overwhelm, that stress and the worry of running a business. So what's the first thing you can do if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed by everything? Simple. Stop. Stop. Take a time out. Take a break. Stop. Our best work with our clients is when we get them to agree to come away to a 5-star hotel and put themselves in a bit of luxury while we spend the day working together. Or, even better, come to our home where we turn off all the phones and get people to sit here for the day while me and Vicky coach them, mentor them, go through all the challenges that they've got and unpack some of the chaos that's going on. In stopping, we can take a moment to see what's working and what's not. And today I'm going to be talking about this one here, which is the inward dialogue. The things that go on in our head about what we say to ourselves. Our self-talk. We can put our accounting system in and we can have an accounting system. We can outsource and get somebody to do our accounts. We can change our pricing. We can put systems in for our sales and marketing. We can have rules. But if in our head we don't believe in ourselves, in our business, in our service, that belief will eventually shine through and become the unwritten word that customers and suppliers will see. It's all to do with your confidence and how you present yourself, and that starts with the dialogue. Have you ever heard somebody say, "Oh my goodness, I'm so clumsy. I'm the clumsiest person around. I bashed my arm the other day. I did my knee in the other day," and then they walk out of the room and they clatter into the table, knock something over all the way through. Believe it or not, that's no surprise if you listen to what they're saying. And that's what they're saying outwardly. Imagine the conversation that's going on in their head inwardly. They're probably saying that all the time. What they've got to do is change that conversation so that they aren't creating that chaos for themselves. The same goes with your business. If you don't believe in your business, you will have issues. And I can demonstrate this very simply. Simply going to draw 2 circles. And in one circle, we're going to put the word maths. Most things in a business can be solved with a bit of maths. So if you're charging, for example, £100 for your thing, £100 an hour, £100 for the thing, it's just a number. 100 times the number of things you sell will give you a sales figure, and you go, okay, that's what I get. And if I said to you, instead of charging £100, let's charge £3,000, you would see from a mathematical point of view, 100 times 10 or £3,000 times 10 is going to give you a better number. We're going to have 1,000 and we're going to have 30,000. Mathematically, changing that number gets a better result. Mathematically, you could test your sales and marketing, the data within your systems, the accounting system. Look at the data that you have within your business and you can pop it into a spreadsheet. Mathematically, we can prove to you without a shadow of a doubt that we can improve the business. The thing is, the moment that I said £100, let's change it to £3,000, often I'll see people smile slightly as I mention that, because they go, well, I get the principle, Kev, you can increase the price, of course, but nobody will buy it. And there is the proof that ultimately it is a mindset problem in terms of your belief. Your mindset says, but I don't believe I could sell that for £3,000. And it's that internal belief level, that internal self-talk, that if you were to work on, we often find little bits of magic that happen. And I don't mean that in magician terms, but magic that suddenly results change because we change the way we're thinking about things. If I said to you, you've got to take your product and service and you've got to treble the price, and you have to do this. Once you've got over the resistance of, I can't do it, there's no way, it's impossible, which are all negative statements to be saying. I can't increase my prices, nobody will buy at that price. Let's change that to, but if I did sell it at that, what would I have to do? What would my marketing message have to be? What would the quality of what I deliver need to change to? What would be the perceived value to the customer? Now we're asking better questions, because we can take a product and service and we can increase the price quite comfortably if we can change the message, if we can package it differently. It might be that in order to charge 100 to 3,000, you've got to add some things to it to make it even better. But in doing so, the things that you add and the sales price that you're getting, the profitability is considerably higher versus the profitability on your £100 item. So your £100 item might have a cost of £60 to it. Well, if you charge £3,000, the cost is still £60, but what if we made the cost £600? 3,000 minus 600 is still way more profitable than 100 minus 60. Well, that's okay, because if that increases the quality, that will then increase our profitability, which we can budget and map in our accounting. And maybe we've got to put a better service in, which we need some systems to help us deliver those services. Maybe we've got to deliver something faster. We need a bit of technology to help us deliver it faster. But it means that we're changing the questions we're asking ourselves. Because the inward projection, the inward dialogue that's going in our head is the cause of most of our problems as human beings. What we say to ourselves comes from what we feed it. If your mission every day is to get up in the morning and go and read the newspaper or scroll through social media news or just generally through social media, just collecting everybody else's stories and doom and gloom, you can soon find yourself in a position where you think, well, our industry is dead, nobody's buying our industry, buying this particular service. The only way to buck that trend is to prove them wrong, isn't it? There's no shortage of money in the world. There's plenty of money out there. It's just that you're not tapping into it. You're not tuning into it. And the way you tune into it is you first of all address your dialogue by stopping and evaluating how good is your self-talk. So how good is your self-talk? Are you always positive? Are you always thinking about the future? Are you always dreaming? Are you always coming up with great ideas? Exploring the notion that your business could genuinely make more money and be better all of the time. If your self-talk is good, then you're a 10 out of 10. But if you actually are honest with yourself and you say, do you know what? I do find myself beating myself up, putting myself down. I don't have any confidence. I don't actually even have any self-love. I don't even like myself. Then we've got some work to do to change that. Because if you can change you, if you can change what's going on in your head, then what you portray to the outside world suddenly becomes a little bit stronger, because you can't help but have conversations with yourself that naturally portray outwardly. If you then stack that with some rules in your business and say, I'm not having this anymore, this is how I'm going to do things, take it or leave it, ooh, you've applied a bit of authority. You've taken a stance. You've stood your ground. That all helps your internal dialogue. That helps your outward projection. So some rules and some inward conversations improvements, some outward projection, suddenly positions you as somebody who means business. And somebody who means business, who's got a stance, who's determined, who's thinking about the positive, suddenly that's going to bleed into the quality of what you deliver to your clients. You're going to implement systems that say, I'm not doing this anymore. This is how we're going to run our business because this is the best service I can offer. And you know what? A client who wants me to deliver that service or that product, for me to do that, if money was no object, this is how I would do it. In other words, if you want the best quality with the best systems and the best way we deliver it, then actually I need to charge a bit more. Because if I charge a bit more, I can really properly do this. I can do this so well that the price will be irrelevant. I want you as the customer to value us as the best in the world. And the only way I can do that is get myself right, put some rules in place, put some systems in place and deliver the best. That means I'm going to have to charge more. It has to. It just has to. That's why this magically works, why this bit is sometimes the magic of it. If you can change your thinking, everything else changes. It really does. The challenge that we have as human beings is that the information coming into us on a day-to-day basis, the vast majority of it is negative. If you're hanging out with a bunch of people who are negative, their voice you will hear. If you're listening to the news and the social media, that voice is coming in. If you're reading the newspapers, if you're reading the negative news, that is coming in at you. That doesn't mean to say you can't be aware of what's going on in the world, but it's about a choice. It's the choice to say, do you know what? I would like to keep that far away. I would like to keep that information that's negative away from me because I don't need that. I need to keep my brain in a better state for me to actually perform my very best. Therefore, read good books. Read The Magic of Thinking Big. Read Think and Grow Rich. That's the sort of education that you should be pouring into your mind. Go and watch some of the great motivators, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, people like that who you can learn from. My favourite, Earl Nightingale. Go and listen and study some Earl Nightingale. It'll change the way that you think. And if you can work on the way that you think and you can work on your mindset, the maths is easy. The maths is generally quite easy. You just got to believe what number. Now you might look at me and go, I can't go from 100 to £3,000. It's too big a number. Great, that's fine. What do you believe? You might look at your pricing and say, you've got a price that you charge for things. I challenge you to just put the price up by 10%. Mathematically, you would make more money. I can prove that. It's in the book. There's a whole example of how that works mathematically. Typically, a 10% increase in sales will generate a 30-40% increase in profits. It's just maths. But if you can't believe that you should put the price up, you ain't going to do it. So you've got to work on this. But if you can put it up by 10%, why not 11? Why not 12? Why not 15? At what point do we need to go where your belief stops? Imagine if you did put your prices up by 20%, 30%, and you never lost a customer. It's absolutely possible. These are the sorts of things we help our clients do by actually getting them to stop. Let's evaluate where we are. Let's score ourselves at a 10 out of each of these elements here. And then let's go and fix these things individually and set a plan and say to ourselves, right, we've got 3 things to fix, 4 things to fix. Well, you're not going to fix it all by tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, are you? But what we can do is we can say, let's have a plan. What's the most important thing to do? How are we going to know that we've got this right? What systems and processes do we need to put in place to measure this? So that we can say, here we are today, and if we do these activities over the next week, month, 3 months, we can make considerable improvements to the scores of each one of these items around here. And all that we know from helping thousands of clients and writing a book on it, Rock Solid Growth, that shows this model and shows why we do this, and studying the course that goes with it as well, which is all absolutely free. All of that information will genuinely help you have an easy business to run and make a little bit more money. And that's what we're all here for. I hope that's of value to you. Any questions, leave them in the comments. Otherwise, see you in the next video.